Hi, my name is Ellen Heed, and I'm the creator of the Women's Sacred Anatomy Project. I began this project in 2006 in order to satisfy certain questions I had about what women did and didn't know about their bodies. I was teaching at the Shiatsu school in California, and I happened to just randomly ask one day, how many women happen to know where their cervix was? It was a general anatomy class, and we were talking about the pelvis, and I mentioned the word cervix, and I got this sort of quizzical look from a few of the women in the class, and I thought, gee, I wonder if they know what a cervix is. And I asked, do you know what your cervix is? And they kind of raised their hands, half of them kind of tentatively, do you know where your cervix is? Two people raised their hands. I thought, geez, your cervix is where a baby comes out of when you have one. And I think it's pretty important to know where it is in order to understand what might happen should you decide to give birth. And then I thought to myself, I wonder if there's a connection between the rising rates of C-section, emergency and elective, and the fact that women don't know where their cervix is. And then I started asking more questions about sexual function and sexual features, sexual anatomy. And the more I learned about sexual anatomy, the more I realized that people had no idea. Doctors and gynecologists had no idea. Even women who called themselves sexual experts had no idea of what actually was happening at the level of basic anatomy and physiology in the pelvic floor. The relationship between what happens to us sexually and our arousal and our fertility and our sexuality and our emotions, and how emotions that are held in the pelvic floor prevent us from our eventual maximal sexual pleasure. These were things that are just not discussed in yoga class. And I thought, boy, we go to yoga to learn about our embodiment. We go to yoga to have mastery of our bodies and to learn compassionate awareness for ourselves. And here's an area of the body that remains untouched and undiscussed, particularly for women. Not only because it may be off limits in the yoga studio, but even in medical school textbooks. What I found out was that while parts may be named, their functionality is not even discussed because it's been left out. What's really interesting is that there are anatomy books from 1751 that have more complete pictures of what the functional parts are in terms of arousal, fertility, and lubrication and pleasure in a woman's pelvic floor than in medical school textbooks that are published today. I find that very interesting, even fascinating. We can create the same level of compassionate awareness for our experience in the bedroom that we've developed for ourselves on the mat in yoga practice. I'd like to connect the dots between the two experiences, between our anatomy, arousal, awareness, and fertility. If you'd like to join me in this exploration, look at the banner below and find out the location, the date, and how to register for this workshop. Thanks, and I'll see you there.